Vincent Van Gogh, people told him, you can't be a great painter, you only have one ear. You know what he said? I can't hear you.
Listening to Sippin' Sports, a Phillies sports talk morning show with Chris, KJ, and Dalt. Proudly powered by 302 Birds. Let's take it to the show.
Good morning, guys. What's going on, everybody? So, fair warning, as always, we do give that pre-recording disclosure. We are pre-recording this Friday night at around 6:30. Dalton and Mac here bringing you guys some Philly sports. If anybody's wondering why we are not locally trying to meet Saquon Barkley right now, we tried. We did try.
Yeah, we tried.
Wasn't possible. They sold out the wristbands, but shout out to KJ for his help with that and giving them a call. And shout out to Dick's Sporting Goods, too, for being honest. So if any of you guys are trying to go to the Brandywine Dick's Sporting Goods, me and KJ called, and they could have totally been like, no, we didn't sell any passes. You guys should come down here and buy a ton of stuff. We probably would have done it tonight, but they were very nice and said, hey, we sold out. But, yeah, if anybody's there or has any pictures from last night, if you're watching the podcast this morning, be sure to send them over. Another Saturday of tears, of sadness for our Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah, man, I mean, take it away. Take it away.
Here, I'm just going to take this right here. Dangerous Phillies country. Damn it. Piece of shit.
It was the McStrikeout special. We got McHawk to it.
That's supposed to be covered. You're not supposed to know that's even there. But yeah, you're not supposed to know that's actually a hole in my wall. But yeah, I didn't think that was going to pop out. But yes, I'm pissed. I am so freaking pissed. I really got my anger out the day of and the morning of after the whole aftermath. And it's still trying to process this whole thing of just this team not being prepared, this team not being ready to take on a team that you were able to beat them in the season series in general. You were able to dominate them. But then when it came to the postseason, you just lie down there like a bunch of babies, especially Alec Boehm, a baby he is. Dude, that guy just keeps on every single postseason. I just see him whining at a call or just mad himself for something that goes wrong. And the guy's 28 years old. It's just, I can complain about so many players right now. That's the one player I'm going to list. I'll list some other ones later. But I'll tell you this, though. What a disappointment. What a letdown. Because so many people believed in you, and we believed in what you said, all the bogus, all the bull crap. Oh, you know what? This team is resilient. We're going to pass the baton. What baton did you pass now? A losing baton, a choking baton. That's the baton you passed to us. So honestly, as a fan, and I feel bad for the ones like Ballpark Tommy, like, I mean, you could say Broad Sports, Chris. Shout out to our boy Chaos Chris, who's not here, unfortunately. But the devoted Phillies fans, like them, I feel horrible for them. Horrible, because we know we could have beaten the Mets. We are the better team than the Mets. But who had more heart in that series? The Mets did. We did not.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem I have with it. And you could say all these excuses about us having to buy, us not having enough time and whatever. We had enough time. We had enough time to get back in the zone. And I know we lost the Nationals in a series before when it was the regular season. And that's why we seemed like we were a little off sync and whatever like that. But you need to get back in sync. And that's the problem with this team, man. And they were not in sync. They were not ready to go. I mean, I know they won that one game, but that was, if you think about it, it was kind of a fluke. So it just seems like they need more bullpen help, and they don't need this. They don't need to run it back again. I don't think you need to run it back. You cannot have the same crew you had. You got to get rid of some pieces. Obviously, you can't get rid of Trey Turner because you're stuck. You're handcuffed to Trey Turner. I mean, he's going to be here for – think about this, Dolt. Trey Turner will be here for 3 more presidential elections. That's how long he's going to be.
Crazy, 12 years?
Yeah, well, no, not 12 years. 9 years. He's got 9 more years left on his contract.
2 the presidential elections.
2, yeah,
then.
2, but I'm talking about the one right now and then plus 2.
True. I guess so. 3,
That's
yeah.
what's going on.
And a 3, yeah.
Yeah,
Right
so-
on the cusp.
So you got that. You got Nola with the contract as well, which I said before the season he did not deserve the money and contract he got. He really did not, and he kind of showed it at the end. He gave up 2 home runs in that game, that the last game he pitched at. But I know some people are going to have his back. They'll be like, "Oh, well, Nola's a good pitcher. Nola deserves the money." I mean, look at it right there, though. We needed him in that kind of moment. He didn't really show up. But a lot of it's not just Nola, though. A lot of guys did not show up. And that's the main problem with the Phillies. And we had all this belief and all this Red October bull crap, the freaking daycare crap, which I will say, by the way, this whole daycare thing, screw it. Okay? Screw it. We need freaking men in here, dude. We don't need babies that cry on the side where on the bench like Alec Boehm. We don't need babies anymore. We don't need that crap. So, and they're all older now, so they're not babies. Eliminate the whole daycare crap. I know there's an Instagram.
The high school now, or the fucking graduate
they're
school.
called a daycare and whatever like that. I'm not hating on you guys. I just mean what I'm saying is we need freaking men. If we want to win a World Series next season, which we still can, and I know people are saying the doors closed, the windows closed. I'm not going to say that. But if they don't make any changes this offseason, then yes, the window is closed.
Yeah, the same team's not going to go back.
Yeah.
As far as they did. And then some. And that's in the NLDS. We're saying that, the brakes are falling off at the end there. I'll say this. The McFalloff. The Hawked. Sorry, I have so many of them written down over here. McFuns, because I'm a McDonald's fanatic. So to fucking lose to Grimace sucked. Because Grimace versus the Philly Fanatic was like the all-time fucking mashup of like Godzilla versus Kong. Like, it could have been amazing. Like, you know what I mean? If we won, and we didn't fucking win. The Phillies McFucked it. So, see, I told you, I have a bunch of them. I could go on Mc all night. But the McProblem was for the Phillies was the McSluggers, the McBullpen, like you said, and McPhilly Rob. The decision-making by this guy was just... It was wild. There were so many questionable moves, like sitting Stott the day after Stott had 2 good plays. When he sat Boehm, some people didn't agree with it. I actually thought that he should have sat Boehm more often, personally, because some of the childish stuff. But it just feels like Topper's kind of just sometimes there, is the way I would put it. And you need more from a manager. Like, look at the flip side. Look at what the Mets have. Carlos Mendoza. Somebody that I feel like is a real player's manager. A player's coach. Somebody that the players really respect and they get behind. If you were listening to the telecast, they said the Mets were the worst team in baseball at a point there in the beginning of the season. They really were. We were making fun of JJ and Matt Bear. Ha, 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 ho, ho, ho. You guys fucking suck. You know what I mean? Carlos Mendoza calls a meeting with the whole team and says, hey, this isn't us. This isn't our team. We need to be better. We need to get better than this. And what happened? They did. It was amazing. They flipped the switch and they not only became, they are the hottest team in baseball and could be the best team in baseball by the end of this year. Sometimes the hottest team isn't the best team. Sometimes the hottest team is the best team. It all depends on how it fizzles out. But they just took down who I would say probably is arguably the best roster in baseball, or one of them, if not. Yeah. And that they've got to be feeling on top of the world right now. So all congratulations to the Mets. I don't want to take any credit away from what they did. You guys had more heart. You guys earned it. But the Phillies are the better team. They knew it. We knew it. The Mets knew it. The Mets fans didn't know it. I wish I could say that, but the other three knew it. So that's why this series ending the way it ended, I think not only surprised a lot of people, but I think the Phillies needed it. They got too cocky once again. I really thought once they got through this series, I was like, even if they get to game 5 tonight, say they won in Philadelphia, we're going ape shit. Complete change of emotion tonight. We're probably not even recording the podcast right now. Yeah, we wouldn't be. If they ended up winning that game, I wouldn't be confident for the next series going up against the Padres or the Dodgers. I wouldn't feel ready. I would feel like, okay, we might get the brakes beaten off of us, even if we had home field advantage. You know what I mean? So I think that the Phillies just really need to look in the mirror and say, okay, who's got to go? Does Topper got to go? I think Topper's got to go. Like I said, the decision-making, the play calling, the clutch situation, like experience, and like not even that, like in games is what I'm talking about, like on the fly decisions, even just stuff like that he has time to think about. It's like you had time to think about that. Like why are you doing this? Like sitting Stott the other day. That upset me. Because if Stott wasn't in that one play that Stott jumped up and grabbed that one out, that was all because of Bryson Stott's athleticism. Now, I'm not giving Stott the pass either, saying, hey, you batted shittily just because you made an awesome defensive play. You know, you're good. Otherwise, Trey Turner would be in God's book, innocent as hell. But you can't just have guys that are good at fielding. At some point, you need, like KJ said, you need men. You need men. And you also need a man to be your manager. And I'm wondering if the whole Topper wasn't even supposed to be the manager of this team.
No, he was not.
And he still is. And it's like, is that a bad thing in a way? Like, would you rather the Phillies have a big name manager come in this offseason and like the players had like the respect from the, like, oh shit, this dude's coming in? Like, you know what I mean? Mendoza, he doesn't got to be an intimidator either. Like Mendoza, players manager. You know what I mean? Like players player, or players manager. Yeah, like I said, players respect him. I think if the Phillies got a younger guy, the locker room would get behind him. That's my take.
Yeah, I mean, I do not think they are moving on from Topper. I don't think you need to move on from Topper. I really don't. Because, and I think I was discussing this with you the day after. I will tell you this. Thompson came into a situation where he had the talent, like roster-wise, but Joe Girardi was sinking that ship. And the way that it was going, it was horrible. And I thought to myself, yeah, this team's not making the postseason. We were able to sneak in the postseason in 2022, just like how the Mets did just this year. They were able to sneak in by a couple of games. And that was the main a main turning point for them. They were able to get in. And then once they had that momentum, they were able to use that momentum and obviously go on the run. They were also with baseball too. And I think that you can, as I said before, you can blame the whole buy thing, whatever you want to blame. But honestly, the players didn't show up. But the thing is, the Mets were in a routine right there. They were in a routine. They were already playing. They played in the wild card. We weren't. We had a bye. We had some rest. We had some time to regroup, which we obviously did not. And I think that's the main problem. Like, we didn't regroup. And I think for Topper, though, he was able to make a situation that seemed like it was like it was discombobulated in 2022. And that team was able to ride a wave to the World Series, and we lost by 2 games. And then the next season, obviously, there was some more where I feel like even though we were in the World Series that year in 2022, I feel like in 2023 we had a better chance because we should have beat the Diamondbacks. I really do believe you close that game out in Arizona, we have the series. And then you even have a chance to come back to Philly twice and have home field advantage, which didn't really show much at all. I mean, you just disappointed the fans right there. You really did. They won right there, Game 7. The Diamondbacks came back. They won 2 games in a row at our house, and they made us look like fools. And then this year, obviously, the Mets made us look like even more fools. So that's the problem. I would say, though, it's kind of like if you think about it, Thompson is kind of like a Sirianni, but he's not though, because he's not going at refs. He's not like celebrating on the sideline or I guess you could say the dugout. He's not doing that. So they're a little different, but they both have made the playoffs and postseasons every year they've coached so far. All the 3 years they've coached, they've all made the postseason. So that's where the comparison is. And also where you can hear at the end of the season when the team does fall off or they have a collapse, which both teams have, you hear the whole like mutters and all that background noise. Okay, does this guy have to go? Do we have to kick him out? Like, do we fire Coach Thompson? Do we manager Thompson? Do we fire him? I say no. Do we fire Nick Sirianni, as I said before, as like an example? I don't know. I was saying yes recently, so I still feel like yes, you still do. But yeah, I think with Topper, though, I think you still give him a chance. I don't see this organization going away from him. I really don't. Because I think he honestly, even though we've choked, he has surpassed expectations and he's been able to regroup this team. And hopefully with the right roster, though, he'll actually regroup this team even more. And we will get a World Series ring or World Series opportunity once again next season. I hope.
Hope and pray, brother. Hope and pray. I'm with you. But I think it's unfair for the coaching to get it a lot. I give it to the coaches a bunch because unfortunately Topper or Nick Sirianni also haven't gotten the job done yet and gotten the championship yet.
Yeah.
But you're right. They've also made the playoffs. And when you think about some of those other franchises, some of those other sports cities and what they've went through for so long, Philly isn't always the worst. Philly isn't the best, but Philly also isn't the worst place to be. Shout out to Silo FX. I think I said that right. On Instagram, if you guys don't follow him, he made an awesome edit. And it was basically just of Philly sports and the bad moments, but how the bad moments are balanced by the good times, the good memories. And I know there's been a lot of bad lately, but just remember, there can't be too many bad days until there's a good one. And we've had a lot of bad fucking days lately. So that just means we're due for a good one coming up sometime here soon. We're due.
There's some light at the end of the rainbow. There's some light. I feel like
the Flyers, the Sixers, you know what I mean? And I'm shocked to say that about the Sixers, but it very well might be the Flyers this year who surprised a lot of people with the momentum. Because I think it's got to be a team that it's almost like Fortnite. You don't want to be like necessarily the person that's killing everybody. You'd rather be the person that's hiding in the cave for like, you know what I mean? Like that's the strategy of the game. It's better to hide than to go out and be like, out in the open. So I think it's almost better for a Philly team to slip into the wild card, like a 6 or 7 team under the radar, and then come out of nowhere like a caged animal and just beat the shit out of all these other teams and really make a name for themselves like the Phillies did in 2022, like the Eagles did in 2018 when Carson Wentz went down and nobody thought we were able to. It's got to be that kind of way, I think, where we're an underdog, where nobody's expecting it. It just has to. It seems like a recipe for success in this city. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now, you kind of alluded to it earlier, KJ, so I'll let you take this first. You had the awesome topic idea. Staying or going, Phillies edition. Who you got?
All right. So obviously this might not be realistic from who we want to go. Obviously, I mean, they might not do this, but this is what I think. I want Alec Boehm out of here. I really do want Alec Boehm out of here. I can't stand him. I've always not really been like on the Alec Boehm like wave at all. I don't really understand the hype with this kid. I'm not really a kid anymore. That's the problem though. But he acts like a kid. That's the problem. He's whining on the freaking. Every time I see him, I see more like in the postseason. I see more bad moments from him, and that's why I just, you know what, you need to get rid of that negative energy. Rid of that negative energy. I say go. Let him go to another franchise. Let him go cry at another franchise. And I know Chris is going to be watching this and be like, that's my guy. Stop it with Alec Boehm, because I know he likes him. So I think he goes. I mean, I hope he goes. I don't know if he actually will. Brandon Marsh. I'm sorry to say this, but I know that we got him the trade deadline. We got him a couple of years. We got him in 2022, and he's a fan favorite. Your buddy Brandon Marsh updates. I mean, he loves him to death. He'll jump in a fountain for Brandon Marsh. So he loves him. But I got to say this though, I don't know why he is still here. I don't think that he's really. I mean, he is actually done better. I feel like he's actually improved, but I feel like we need something else. We need something else, and I just don't really feel like bringing him back. Bryce Harper, you got to keep. You got to keep Bryce Harper, obviously, and you're going to keep him. Trey Turner, you're stuck with him. I was just telling Dalt, like you are stuck with Trey Turner, even though he's having his dry spell right now, which he seemed like he was better this season in general. In the postseason, though, he was nowhere to be found. He was nowhere to be found. I really felt like he was just nowhere. I think he had some RBIs, if I'm not mistaken. He had some hits, but we needed him to be like what Lindor was for the Mets. And Lindor actually showed it. And he's getting paid way less than Trey Turner, but he's hitting a freaking grand slam in the last game that they just played. And that's what Trey Turner should be doing, putting this team on his back at times. And it seems like he's just swinging at nothing. Somebody else who's swinging at nothing, Castellanos. And I know people are going to be like, you know what, though? He did better this postseason. He did. He had a great homer back-to-back with Bryce. That was great to see. But honestly, though, do I see him moving on from the Phillies? I do. I see him moving on from the Phillies. I do think he had a better season, though. If you think about the second half of the season, he looked great. I would like to keep him, but I do see him moving on from us. Another guy that I feel like I wish that they can just honestly give another team his contract, because he is no good, I feel like, in my opinion. I know people are like, oh, he's the best catcher in the league. Doesn't play like it. JT Realmuto, I want him out of here. I believe in Marshawn, the guy from the minors. I believe in him. I think he can actually be a great talent. JT Realmuto, though, I swear, there's times where we need him to come up in the clutch, and he just doesn't. He doesn't, and it's just aggravating. And another guy, too, that I feel like he's going to stay, but if I had the chance to say, like, go, it would be Aaron Nola. That's why I would say Aaron Nola, but I could keep on naming for days, but I'm going to let Dalton take the reins.
No, all great answers. I'm just writing down some of mine. I agree with you for the most part. We'll start where I disagree, okay? Just for the contrast. Casty. I know Casty had a lot of bad moments in these playoff series, but he was the one guy.
Yeah.
For everybody that's also saying, he was the one guy that showed up that game, and he showed up a lot of games when we needed him to. Besides that, after that, I remember there were a couple moments where we needed a hit from him, and he got a hit. I feel like Casty has also really immersed himself on this team and you can use him as a plug and play guy. Like if you want to kind of like, you know what I mean? Like plug him in somewhere here, somewhere there, you can. And everybody loves Nick. So I'll give Nick one more year. Yeah. I say Nick is safe. Bryce, of course, Bryce is safe. And I've seen some. What are we going to do with Bryce? What? Like,
no, Bryce is staying. We need Bryce.
Bryce is staying. Yeah, exactly. Need Bryce. So Bryce, Casty, Schwarber had that leadoff home run. I know he didn't do too much after that, but that leadoff home run really ignited the series and could have ignited the team. If that game one went a different way, that we could have remembered that in a way different way. So Bryce, Casty, Schwarber, Ranger, I thought should have gotten more credit for what he did in getting out of those two spots where the bases were loaded jams. He looked very professional out there, looked very poised. And I don't think he got a lot of credit for what he did on a bad back this year. So I think Ranger will come back next year. Wheeler's the Phillies ace. Like he's the Phillies best pitcher that they have right now. And it's a shame that game one work that he did went all to waste. That really makes me sick to my stomach. Sanchez had a good game too. Everybody else, I want to be emotionally upset if they got traded, I'll say. The daycare. Let's start with the roomies, 1 and 2. Bomer and Marsh. Bomer, you got to fix the attitude, man. I think Bomer's the kind of player that if he leaves this team, he's going to be an all-star. Like one of the best players in the MLB. But if he stays on this team, he's never going to make it past or to an all-star. He's never going to be an all-star on this team because the Phillies hold Bohm back and Bohm holds the Phillies back. It goes both ways. Like Bohm's a good player, but I think sometimes playing in a city like Philadelphia psychologically like fucks with him. Like he overthinks about it.
Yep.
And he does dumb shit. Like those 2 times in the last game when he just froze right there and we was too late with his throws to first, or the second time he didn't even throw it. And we're like, what are you doing? It's a playoff game, Bohm. Wake up. Like, what are you doing? And it just felt like that. That combined with almost getting thrown out of game 3. Look, man, love the emotion. All for it. I love that you care about this team. You fucking love this place, right?
Yeah.
There's a time and a place. You're a professional. You got to be smart. You can't be getting thrown out of game 3 when you are the guy who represented your team this year in the All-Star game, when you are the guy this year who represented your team in the home run derby.
Yep.
You got to be able to show up more. And I just think that a departure of Alec Bohm for the Phillies might be mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
Same with Marshy. I love Brandon Marsh. I really do. And it's going to make me sad to see these 2 guys go because they were really the personality of this team was the younger guys. Like the older guys, when you think about them, like Bryce, like Bryce does some funny shit. Bryce has a good personality, but Marsh, Bohm, Stott, when you think about that core that the Phillies have right there, it's amazing. So I will say Marsh probably has to go. I'm not going to be as hard on him as KJ. I think one of these guys is going to be kept as sort of, like I said, a Castellanos or Marsh. Both those guys won't be on this team next year.
Yeah.
Who would I rather have out of the 2? Castellanos.
Yeah, of course.
Would I be mad if one of them stays? No. Would I be mad if both of them stay? Yes. Because that's too much bats. They both want time. And I would rather bank on one of them getting hot than both of them getting hot. Because they're not going to both get hot at the same time. We just saw that this year. This whole fucking team went dry at the same time 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row. Trey, KJ took the words out of my mouth. Trey ain't going anywhere. JT, I'll say this about JT. I'm not as hard on JT. JT and Trey are kind of in their own cat. Like the daycare 2 guys are here. Like you got literally Bohm and Marsh right here. And then I'd probably put JT and Trey in their own category over here. Where for me, it's like you get the off year pass. Like you had an off year. And that's only because we've seen how good you can be when you're at your best. Like I know my boy, shout out to Brandon Marsh Updates, keep saying Brandon Marsh had an off year. And I get that. I hear that. But at the same time, you can only say you have an off year when you've proved it, I feel like. And that's my personal opinion. That's my take. And Trey Turner has had an all-star year multiple years. When you look at, what's his name? The guy, Castellanos. Castellanos had an all-star year. We've seen what Castellanos can do for this team. So that's why I'd say, okay, Castellanos, I wouldn't even say had an off year. I thought he had a lot of clutch moments this year. And then he showed up for one game in the playoffs. One guy can't do it all for the whole team. But JT, same thing. We've seen what JT can do. And it's hard to find a good catcher. It really is. So I give JT one more year. Trey, I don't even know what they're going to do with that contract situation. But, man, it's sad, dude. It sucks. And I just want to say that before we move on. Because when you think about just like those moments of like fall of 2022, I first met you, one of my best friends, Ballpark Tommy. And it was just such a crazy time. Everybody had stuff going on, but that team distracted you from it. That team made you feel like you were a part of it. You see those videos of Marsh, Bohm, Stott, Harper, Cast, all of them at Xfinity Live. sing and dancing on my own. And it's really going to suck that that team never won a ring together. Man, sorry.
No, you're
It's
good,
tough.
man. No
It's
need to
tough
say
because,
sorry.
you know, you start to, that was like the first baseball team that I've watched the Phillies in college,
Yeah.
but I bet on these Phillies.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it like that. I just mean I watched this team very much so. And we knew a lot about these guys. We respect these guys. And you love them as people. And it sucks when they don't show
Yeah.
up because it's also a business too. And that's what you gotta be able to separate the two guys. And some fans can do it, some fans can't.
Yeah.
I thought you can, obviously, you know, if it was up to KJ and I, probably every player that's walked through Philly would still be here on a max deal because that's the kind of players that most of these guys are. But you also gotta perform. You gotta show up and you gotta want to show up. So moving along to our next topic.
Speak about not showing up.
Yeah. Devon White apparently
Yeah.
didn't want to play special teams. What's your thoughts about that?
I get it. He thinks he's elite linebacker, but here's the thing, though. You lost the job to Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean beat you out to it. So you know what? If Nakobe Dean lost that job, Nakobe Dean would be doing special teams. You lost that job. You didn't have that linebacker position in you don't have it locked up. So you know what? You're going to play special teams. And he said, F that. I'm not doing that. And that's where it all tumbled. I feel like that's where all the crap happened. Like he just didn't want to do it. So it sucks that it didn't work out with Devon White because I remember me and you were in Clearwater when we heard about the news and we were like, what a great move by Howie because we need a linebacker. We needed an elite linebacker and we thought we got one. We thought we got someone that was going to be that kind of guy you can put into a defense and he could just go out there and just ball out. Like we thought we got a true baller, but we didn't. We got a true bum, if you ask me. We got a true bum. That's what we got. And it just sucks because I was very hyped about this guy. And it stinks because when those guys that you get, like it's happened a bunch of times, I remember, where we get a guy that has a great pedigree. He's got a great resume to his career already. DeMarco Murray comes to mind. Nnamdi Oswald comes to mind. And either they don't play or they do play. When they do, they don't play to the, I guess you could say, level that we expect them to play at. They don't play to the potential that we believe they have and the actual skills that we thought they had. They don't play to that. And it sucks. And for Devon White's situation, he played in preseason, but then he didn't play in the regular season at all. He pretty much did a Frank Gore. He did a Frank Gore, kind of did a Rashad Penny because I feel like Rashad Penny never really played for us either because he was a guy who we thought, you know what, that's an underrated signing that Howie got, and it was another signing that just didn't work out at all. So it sucks. But you know what, though? I think this linebacker crew will move on from it, and the defense will move on from it because they got other fish to fry. They got some other problems to figure out, which I think they are figuring out. From what I'm seeing, it looks like they are trying to figure out those kind of problems, and they are coming together as a team, hopefully, and they can get this win this weekend. But I think it was the right move to move on from Devon White because you can't have a guy who's literally tweeting about his former team and also retweeting about Jalen Hurts struggling. Like, you're getting paid by this team. I know you're not happy right now with your play style, like the way that you're playing, and you're pissed that you are offered to play on the special teams. But guess what, though? You're still part of this team. They're still giving you a paycheck, and you're retweeting and liking tweets about Jalen Hurts losing the ball. Obviously, that is a problem, but you should be lifting him up. You were the same guy that had this group text with A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, acting like you're a leader, and you haven't even stepped on the field yet, saying, all right, we got this jar right here, and it's not full yet. Well, your jar never filled with even like a little seed of anything because you contributed nothing. And we heard all this bull crap from Nick Sirianni saying, well, Devon White's a great teammate. He's one of the best teammates I've ever seen for this team. So you know what? That's what I think. As a man, he's a great person. Obviously, he's not a good person. He's retweeting and tweeting about his quarterback. And that's your quarterback too, Sirianni. So that's what I have the problem with Devon White. And I'm glad. You know what? Let the door hit you on the way out, you bum.
It upset me because playing special teams is such something that seems like a lot, but when you think about the NFL nowadays, it's really changed. It's not as dangerous as it was, number one. So you can't use that. I'm going to get injured, coach. You might get injured, but you might also get injured playing the game as a whole. So they've really changed it to make it a lot safer. And I know, obviously, I'm just a talking head saying that, but for real. The second thing is it's about being a team player. It's about when you're on any team of any aspect, and if a teammate or mainly if a coach asks you to do something, you do it. You don't ask questions. You don't sit there and say, no, I don't want to do this. I can't do this and that. So that whole attitude thing kind of upset me. We heard about that in Brazil. Like KJ said, the whole Twitter thing went down. Then he posted that whole Bible verse about being free before like he was released by the Eagles. So it's like, okay, do your thing. It hurts for the fans like us who have an outside perspective because it's obviously easier said for us than done to repair a relationship and make it work. But I do hope that the Eagles organization did what they could to try and keep this guy here. Because I think he's a great player. And I think that he was also told that he would have a different role when he came here. I think that they flat out told Devon White, yeah, you're going to win the starting job. You're going to be our linebacker 1. And Zach Bond showed up. Nakobe Dean won the 2 job. And I think Devon White just kind of got salty about it and let his attitude get the better of him. It really sucks to say that, but that's the case. Moving along now to our next topic and our final topic of the day. Tomorrow, for those watching today, it is a must-win game for our Philadelphia Eagles. Not only for the Eagles, but for the whole city of Philadelphia. We're going to freaking emotionally collapse if they don't win this game. People are going to be so upset with what the Phillies happened. So I pray to God that every player on the Eagles, everybody understands the importance of this game. Not only for them, but for, like I said, the well-being, economy, and safety of Philadelphia. Please, God, let the Eagles win. And the other thing I want to say, too, is I think that Bryce Huff will have a career game. I think that with all of this bullshit that's finally happening and going on and all this outside stuff, it's actually going to wake Bryce Huff up, in my opinion. Somebody's got to show up. Somebody's got to be the hero in this game. Somebody's got to want to play defense. Somebody's got to want to go sack Deshaun Watson. Somebody's got to put him on his ass. And I think it's going to be Huff. That's going to be my bold take about this game. What do you think, KJ?
Yeah, I mean, you can see some players stepping up for sure. I think the Browns aren't that good of a team. So you got to take that, obviously, and you got to take it as a I guess you could say advantage, because I mean they did lose to Washington, which Washington actually is a great team. You got to say the Commanders actually are a great team. They got a great young quarterback, but the Cleveland Browns are not the Cleveland Browns that they were a year ago or 2 years ago, or they just weren't. And Deshaun Watson isn't the Deshaun Watson he was in Houston. I'm talking about it as a player, not person. So just FYI. But yeah, I feel like you have a chance. Obviously, they have a great defensive line. Myles Garrett's a beast, and I've met him in person. I can tell you this: like he is a beast of a player, and he's a great guy too. But this is the time to honestly win a game, and not just win it, but dominate. You got to. I think you got to come out with a bang, because there's all these doubters in your mind right now, especially in the Eagles corner right now. There's a lot of doubters and a lot of haters out there right now saying, you guys are frauds. You guys have all this talent, but you're wasting talent. We got to prove those people wrong. We got to come out this weekend. The defense has got to look like how they looked when they played the Saints. And that starts with Vic Fangio. He's got to get the defense ready and in the same mindset they had when they played the Saints. I want you to think the same thing. Even though the Browns aren't what the Saints are offensively, they don't have the star power and what the Saints were doing in the first 2 weeks. I still want you, whatever worked with that game, do the same damn thing because it worked. And I love seeing that defensive line thrive in that kind of defense. I mean, that was awesome to see. And I want to see that again. And I know we can see that. There's got to be a chance. There's got to be a little bit of heart they still have in them. They could just turn off all that noise and just go out there and ball out. And the offense, you got A.J. Brown back. You got Devontae Smith back. That's perfect for Jalen Hurts to get back on track. That is awesome. That's a great reset button. He's already got a great reset button with the bye week. And I know we talked about the bye week in baseball not working, but I think with football, though, it's different because it's not really a kind of thing where you're like doing, I guess you could say, where it's like a motion. With football, like, I mean, baseball, it's a routine. And that's why I think some of these teams in baseball have not really benefited from the bye weeks. But for football, though, I think teams can benefit because they can regroup as a team. If they have problems, which the Eagles have problems right now, they can regroup and figure out, like, okay, dude, like, we got to freak up. And so hopefully the Eagles can do that. And hopefully they can balance passing the ball and getting to AJ and Devontae, getting to Dallas Goedert, and also giving the ball to Saquon Barkley. That was the main thing that should have happened in Tampa, but it didn't. It didn't. So you know what? You got to go with what you have. You have the talent. You have more talent than the Cleveland Browns. Go out there and show it. So we really do need the Eagles to win this game because, as Dalton said before, though, they got to really realize that right now the city's freaking hurting. It's freaking hurting because our freaking hearts have been ripped out of our freaking stomachs from the Phillies. So you know what, Eagles? You are the number one team that we care about. It's a football city. Go out there and show us that you care about your fans. Go out there and ball out. So that's what I think. So hopefully they do it. If I had a score prediction, I would say the Eagles do bounce back and they do win. I think they're going to win the game. I think they win it 31 to 17. 31-17. I think they just go out there and they ball out. 31-17. I got Birds winning.
Yo, KJ.
What's up?
Like flipping on the switch of a fucking power grid. That is what Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are going to do for Philadelphia fans, for the Philadelphia offense, for Kellen Moore, for Nick Sirianni to start being his own, whoa, what the fuck I'm doing, whatever the fuck he's doing up and down the sideline. Go. Do your thing, bro. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. It works for this team. It works for this city. But those two guys are going to be some serious contributors. I want to see Saquon Barkley get the ball like I do every game. But this game especially, get the ball to Smitty and get the ball to A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. Like, just get it in their hands. And I hope that the play calling is good. I'm not looking for a lot of deep passes this week. I want to see slants. I want to see drags. I want to see crossers that are maybe 5-10 yards upfield. Not much at all. Easy to run routes, but moreover, easy to complete passes. Just get the ball in their hands and let them do the rest. Just like Madden. You get the ball in these guys' hands, and they're going to make it easy for the team. And they're going to make it easy for Jalen Hurts. This needs to be a game for Jalen Hurts to get his confidence back. This needs to be a game for the defense to get their confidence back. Huff to get his confidence back. So I expect a big game out of Huff. I expect a big game out of A.J. Brown. And I just think that those two guys are going to uncork the floodgates on this offense. Like, we may see 3 touchdowns between A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and you're going to say, wow, that's 21 points. That's a lot. Where's the rest of the offense going to go? It could be a 40 burger this week. It could. If the Eagles execute the way that they should, a morning game at the Link with everybody there fired the hell up. And it's our first home tailgate that we've had since September 20-something. So it's been a good 3 weeks now that we've had to wait to see our team. And we've only seen our team once this season, and it's already the second week in October. That's crazy. There's never been a season like this before. So I expect Philly fans and Eagles fans to be fired the hell up, which should fire the hell up out of this team. So get ready, Eagles fans, if you guys are going to be there. KJ and I will be there tailgating around 8 a.m. We should be getting there. KJ will be arriving when he arrives, but he'll be there early too. Jack will be coming. BG will be coming. So it should be a great tailgate tomorrow. So if you guys aren't doing anything, come hang out with us. I believe we're in the end lot. We're hanging out with Club 215. So everybody over there, it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. They're going to be DJing, so we'll have tunes to dance to. Maybe Ballpark Tommy might come out and help us cook something. Who knows? So it should be a really fun vlog.
From what I saw, burn something.
Yeah, he can't cook too well. Just like well, he can cook well, just not hot dogs in that video for fair context. But he is actually a good cook. I'll give him credit. Must be the Italian in him. Yeah.
Yep.
But that's all we got. I'm sorry about the Phillies, guys. I wish we had better news
guys,
with that.
One more ring for you guys. So
ring out the season for us. Man,
there you go.
It just sucks.
See how the bell just went? Boom.
Yeah, accurate for how this season ended. Just not a fun time to be a Phillies fan. But hey, when you're there together, it makes it that much better. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. If you guys haven't, please like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things. We really appreciate the little things, really help us grow this channel, and we have grown a ton this year. So please, seriously, subscribe to us, like the video, comment, appreciate it. And other than that, I hope everybody has a good rest of their weekend, and follow us on Instagram and all that good stuff too. You guys will see it in the description. Have a good weekend.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.